And we are live. Hello, everyone. It's Wednesday night in Melbourne. And as usual, we will have our live discussion with another amazing guest today. So thank you for finding some time to join me this evening. And if you are in Melbourne, how are you actually going with isolation number 2? Please let me know. And please, when you have a chance, introduce yourself in the comments and let us know actually which city or country you are joining us today. So as I often say, isolation may be not the best time of our life, but it's a great time to learn something new and also work on to improve our online presence. So, and I'm actually going to learn a lot tonight as well, because I don't actually know much about SEO myself, apart of the fact that it stands for search engine optimization. And there are so many things about SEO these days, so many trends, approaches. We're constantly hearing some different approach to the keywords, mobile SEO, WordPress SEO, on-site, local, so the list goes on. So today's discussion is basically about where should we start when it comes to SEO, and can we do our own SEO? Like, for example, I'm trying to do it sometimes myself, probably not that successfully. And if we're doing it, so what the best tools we should use, and also if we decide not to do it ourselves, if we want someone to do it for us. So how we actually know that we are getting the right results. So that's a few things that we're going to discuss today with Peter in the next half an hour. And, these days, if your business is not online, it doesn't exist. And, if it is online, you need to make sure that people actually can find you online. So tag your friends who need this to hear these tips today. So, because that's a pretty relevant topic, especially during isolation. So before I'm going to pass it to Peter to introduce himself, I just wanted to remind you that we are going live on LinkedIn and YouTube. And you can also watch the replays on both platforms. You just need to follow Live with Jana link. I think I have it here. So you can follow the Live with Jana hashtag, or actually subscribe to my YouTube channel. And in this case, you will get notification every Wednesday at 5:30 to join me for discussion. So please ask as many questions as you can. So Peter will gonna reply to all your questions from both platforms. And the most exciting bit is that he will have some giveaway at the end for someone who asked the best question and participate in our discussion. So we have a few people saying hi here. Thank you, guys. This is here from Italy. Here we go. So we have a international audience today. So great to learn new stuff. So thank you so much, guys, for joining us. Let's get into it. So Peter, please tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, hi, and thanks, Jana, for having me on this live webinar. Yes, you have made some really good points already about how important it is to be online at the moment, especially during these times. And I do feel for lots of businesses which are doing it tough now. But about me, why should you take any notice of me? Well, I'm a WordPress SEO consultant, but I don't just do WordPress SEO. I am also an SEO specialist, and I work for Studio Hawk as well. And I've been involved in digital SEO, really making websites and building software since 1997, and that was before Google began. So I've seen a lot of the journeys of what happened when Google first came onto the scene, things that have changed over the years. And so, I'm involved in the community. I am a webinar host for the SEMRush the Australian webinar series. Every month we run some webinars with world-leading experts, and I'm the host for that. I'm also the co-organizer of the Melbourne SEO meetup group, and before all the lockdown stuff and the virus, then we used to always have a monthly meeting at a bar or a pub, and we do presentations and we get experts. We've been doing that online now, so you can still go to the Melbourne SEO group and be involved there. And I also, last year, I was lucky enough, or I was fortunate enough to win an award. So I won the Special Recognition Award for the Australian SEO Industry Awards. And some people call me the godfather of SEO in Australia. And I wonder if that's got something to do with some grey whiskers here. But so that's a little bit about me.
Perfect. So we should, as a godfather of SEO, you should give us, these golden nuggets today. So we all, after this half an hour, we should be SEO professionals.
I wish it was so easy.
Sandra saying she's a website copywriter, and she's really looking forward to learn something from both of us. And actually, probably it's really, relevant topic for those who are actually creating content. And I'm one of those. I create content, but I don't know how to optimize it for Google to find it. So let's just give us a quick overview. What is actually SEO? So where would we start? Where people who already have some sort of content, how do we start with SEO?
Okay, so SEO is an acronym. It doesn't stand for Silly Elephant Olympics. It stands for Search Engine Optimization. Google is one of the search engines. There are other ones like Bing and Yahoo, Baidu and Yandex. From around the world, there's different search engines, but the matter of the fact is that Google is controlling around about 90 to 95% of all of the search engine traffic. So, and I'm sure everyone who's tuning into our webinar will understand that, the go-to is Google when you want to search for something. So our customers are using Google to find out information, find out products and services, or anything we've got to offer. So what we're doing when we're doing SEO, when we're doing search engine optimization, is we're making changes to our website so that we can get higher results, get more results and more relevant results in search engines when people search for the kinds of things that we're offering. And so it's all about the audience. It's all about making sure we've got the right technical elements on our website. It's a huge field, and I guess this is why I think Microsoft recently announced that SEO is probably one of the fastest and most important technical skills for anyone to have online, especially now in 2020. And
it's constantly changing as well. You feel like you learn one trick, and next week you need to learn a new trick again. So yeah. So I guess you have a really good picture here too. So what's the first step? Where is this first step when we come to SEO?
First step. Well, we need to get started, and with beginning with the first step is to what we can do actually, if just before we get to the activity. So I've got an activity for everyone who can join in, and they can run a report. But the first step obviously is to understand what it is we're trying to do. And so it's much easier if we've got a website such as a WordPress website, because we can then do all kinds of things, like we can install the Yoast SEO plugin. We can make changes to our pages and the back end and do all these kinds of things that are much easier than some other platforms. And so this is why I always say to people, before they start, before they want to build a website from scratch, maybe have a think about which platform you're going to build your website on. And really, WordPress is leaps ahead. We're looking at maybe 20 or 30% of all the websites on the internet are made with WordPress. So that is why I recommend that. So, Jana, do you think our viewers will be ready to run a report?
Let's try. I can run a report anyway. And actually, guys, who's watching us, put in the comments. Do you have a WordPress website? Yes, or if you don't have a WordPress website, please share with us what type of the website you have. I have a WordPress website, so I can run a report.
Well, this report will work whether it's WordPress or it will work for any website. But please don't get me wrong. You can do SEO for any website at all. And so I'm not trying to discriminate or talk people out of any other platforms. But I'm a little bit biased, but if we run this report, we can actually see some results. Now I do have, I have run this report earlier, but maybe while that's running, we can keep going through and I can keep talking about some more things.
Should I share this link with the guys?
Absolutely. It's there for everyone. So,
here you go, guys. That's a link.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so please, if you want to run that report, everyone who's joining us, if you run that report, what happens, I'll just explain what actually happens. So step one, you go to that page, you run the report, and it will email you. An email will come into you with a report, and then everyone who's watching the webinar, I'm going to go one step further, and I'm going to go and take everyone who submits a report from this link. I'm going to add on another full report for everyone that I can, and I'll email it to you all later on as a follow-up. So that's just a bonus for everyone.
People who don't have WordPress, can they still run this report?
Yes, please. Everyone can run it.
Yeah. Because everybody, Zdeno saying that no WordPress, Sandra have a Weebly website, so they still can run it, yes? Yeah. Rodney saying hi.
It will work for Weebly, it'll work for,
Okay, cool. So should I try to run it myself too?
You can run it, and what we'll do is it'll run, and then it will email a report to you. So maybe when you get the report emailed to you, you could share what the report says in your email if you like. But in the meantime, while you're waiting for that to come through to your email, as I said, I just want everyone to understand that anyone who's joining us, I'm going one step further, and I'm going to follow up with a full audit report that I can run. And this is using, people probably need to know that this is using the SEMRush tool. It's an SEO tool called SEMRush. So unfortunately, SEO is incredibly complex and time consuming. SEO is not hard, and you'll hear a lot of people who say SEO is not hard, it's easy, but it can be very overwhelming. And so we need tools, and one of those tools is SEMrush.com. And so if maybe we can ask our viewers for, who's heard of SEMrush? Is anybody using SEMrush? Is anyone trying it out? Or
I think Rodney might. We'll ask Rodney if Rodney used it.
Rodney.
Rodney's there, yeah. So I'm actually, so we don't have a website, have a WordPress website. I probably the only tool I used was Yoast. That's how far my SEO journey went.
Great. So you've got Yoast, which is, that's a really good start. It's a good place to start. Look, while we're waiting, just let me know when you do, and we can jump across once you've got that report.
Yeah.
But in the meantime, we can talk about DIY SEO versus getting a consultant. What should we just jump in ourselves and try to do all our own SEO work, or should we get a consultant? And what are some of the pros and cons? So some of the pros of doing your own SEO is that you can control it all yourself and make all your own decisions, and you can decide what SEO changes to make on your own website. It's potentially cheaper. It's going to be, it's your own time, depending what your own time is worth. It could be cheaper than paying for a SEO professional. And it could also be a lot of fun for people who are kind of interested in learning new technical skills. Then learning some SEO skills could be a lot of fun. But there are some cons because it is very time consuming and there is a big learning curve involved, and it's the unknown unknowns. We don't know what we don't know. And so what can happen is, if we're not careful, then we can, make changes to our site that could potentially bring us further down the search engine results rather than bringing us up higher. And so this is why I recommend people to get into the tutorials and start learning. So there's lots of tutorials that people can pick up, but it's definitely worth doing an SEO tutorial before diving in and making SEO changes on your own website. You can do some Google search and just find an SEO tutorial, or you can go to semrush.com/academy. That's a great tutorial. You can go to moz.com, which is /beginner's guide to SEO.
MOZ?
M-O-Z. Do you want me to drop these links?
Drop this link. I'll put it on the screen.
Yeah, okay. I've got 3 links here because the third one is actually Studio Hawk, where I do some consulting. And Studio Hawk has been spending the last 12 months building a full SEO tutorial learning center. And so there's three really good tutorial links there that you can go and start learning about SEO. And I highly recommend knowing a few things before kind of poking around. And we, especially the thing I would hate to see it happen to anybody is that, they jump in and start making some changes, and next thing you know, they're losing results from Google, and we just don't want to see that happen.
So would you say don't try to do it intuitively? So don't just try and start putting some description to Yoast and trying to intuitively guess what to do. So it doesn't work.
Well, it depends on what your appetite for risk is. If you're a business owner and you rely heavily on traffic from Google for you to have a viable business, then you may want to mitigate that risk a little bit by 1, learning about SEO before doing, or 2, trying to find a good consultant. But there's still, we go back to the same argument, and a lot of people, because this is such a gray area, and a lot of people say, no, it's easy, you can do your own SEO. Well, that might be fine for people who are technical and people who want to take that learning curve. And I say, yes, you can do your own SEO. So
yes, I'm popping up these links of the resources. Sandra actually said that she's done the, SEMRush course before. And Zena actually asking, I heard of SEMRush, but is it pretty pricey tool?
Well, I think the pricing varies from around about somewhere from $100, maybe up to $200 or $300 per month for the tool. And I guess you put that into perspective of what you might want, what you might need to pay for a professional for a consultant because they need to pay for the tools as well. And yes, I mean, that's your kind of price range you're looking at.
So we have a next question from one is, what's the easiest way to find outstanding AdWords?
Great. This is a great, so one of the things that I wanted to talk about was understanding your keywords, and definitely that is something, because, you know, to put a little bit of background around that question is, you know, the way that it works is whenever we type something into Google, we call them keywords, right? So some people call them search phrases, all kinds of different things. And especially for AdWords, where Google looks at the words people are typing in, and it tries to match up the words that the person has put in there with the ads or with the results, anything that is going to show return in what it calls the search engine results pages. So some easy ways to find those kinds of words is by doing a thing what we call keyword research. And there's a number of ways to do keyword research. I mean, one really, really easy way of doing it is that we can just go ahead and type into Google the kinds of things we're looking for. And then when you go right down to the bottom, it says people also search for, and it starts showing you variations of those keywords that you've put in there. That's a really straightforward way to start understanding more kinds of words that you can be found for. And but Google's a very complicated. Hey, you got the.
I got the report. Yeah. Just but finish the question first.
I'll just finish this off because you know, it's not really just about keywords. It's not just about the words you type in. What Google is trying to do is to figure out what is the intention you're looking for. And so Google is using all kinds of complicated artificial intelligence to figure out what you might type a word in, but it's trying to figure out what do you really mean, and it's showing you the kinds of results that it wants you to see. And so the next thing that I would say is, if you're going to do your own keyword research, then it is worth probably investing into a tool like SEMRush to figure out what are the keywords you should be researching and using. Or, as I said, you can just use Google and just keep searching in Google and finding out your competitors. Probably a really, really quick takeaway just here for AdWords is have a look at your competitors' ads and what are the keywords that are coming up for, that your competitors are coming up for that you're not. And that's another way of saying, well, do I want to be found for that? Because it needs to also make sense. Just because our competitors are getting found for those keywords, does that actually make sense that I want to be found for those keywords? So there's a bit of sense around that as well, and some intelligence we need to use, because we don't want to just get found for any keywords, because it might not have anything much to do with what we've got on our site or what our audience wants from us.
And I guess should you constantly research the keywords? Like you can't just stick to same keywords, I don't know, for 3 months, or like you can, or you advise to change the keywords?
Well, sure. I mean, proper, good, solid keyword research can take a long time. And so it's not always practical to spend weeks and weeks doing, you know, or a lot of time to research all your keywords thoroughly before you start doing the work. So the idea is to do some keyword research, work on those, optimize those, then come back, do some more keyword research later, and get a spreadsheet, start keeping a copy of all these keywords you think that are performing, and also have a look if you're doing AdWords or if you're getting found for certain keywords. This is why we recommend using tools, because they can keep a track of what position we're coming up in Google. Are we coming up high in Google or low? Are we on the first page? Are we ranking highly or not? And so the tools can keep track of that for us. For a number of keywords, we might have hundreds of keywords we're getting found for.
Can you suggest any free tool? Do you have a favorite free tool?
Yes, I do have some free tools, and I will put that. I'll give you a link to a good free keyword research tool, and I'll drop that in so you can type that into the link for you. Yeah. So,
Because
do you?
yeah, obviously, sometimes if you like starting yourself and trying to play around, you're usually trying to use all the free tools first
Yeah, of course,
before going to invest in the next step.
Yeah.
So while you're doing this, I actually brought up that report that just came through.
Yes.
So let me just bring it to the screen.
Okay.
So this is my email,
Okay.
and this is the report that I got.
Great. So what I said is that now Jana, because you're on the webinar, we're on the webinar, and just like everyone else is on the webinar today, I'll follow up again with a big full report, and you can take it away and show it to anybody. But for this little report here, it's very simple. It just shows the top 3 issues. And so first thing to look at, the first question to ask is, what is the site health, right? And this is the score. So what is your percentage? So 85% is not too bad, right? It's kind of a good starting place, And so congratulations for having 85%. It's more than lots of people. I've seen some people with very low scores.
Taking consideration, I don't do any SEO, so I would say it's a pretty good result for me.
Well, there you go, right? So it's a good starting place. So if you want to optimize and fix things up, then you can get a higher score. Now, it's important to remember, right? This is a tool. This is a report. It's a measuring system, right? Just because it says 85% doesn't mean you're getting 85% of everything in real life. So it's like any other tool, and you're not, it's like a measuring tape. Yeah. So just because we measure, 30 centimeters on a piece of wood, and the tradie, he cuts that wood at 30 centimeters. We've got to remember, the measuring tape is not the wood. The wood builds the house, the timber builds the house. The measuring tape doesn't build the house, right? So this is what we need to have a think about with these kind of reports. This is just a measuring. It's a way of telling what we can do to fix things. But at the end of the day, it's really about the bits and pieces on your site. So what we can see here with yours is that so far as the pages, so SEMRush here, which is what's run this tool, it's found 25 pages on your site. Right? Does that sound about right? You got about 25 pages?
Yeah, I think sounds about right. Maybe some of them private, some of them not. I'm not yet, but overall, probably about right.
So that's an important thing to have a think about, because if, for instance, you've got hundreds of pages, but it can only find 25 of them, then that could be an SEO problem, right? So we're just looking at that saying, yeah, I think I've got about 25 pages, and SEMrush has found 25 of them. And out of that, it's found one page that it says is completely healthy. Which, when it says it's completely healthy, it means there's no problems whatsoever. Now,
that's good. I have one healthy page. Yes.
now, mind you, almost every page on everybody's website has some kind of problem. So you're doing all right. But we can see there's some redirects, there's some blocked pages, that kind of a thing. But the top 3 issues. Just go to the next section where it says errors. You've got 2 errors. You got 172 warnings, and you got 106 notices. Right. Now, let me just go down to the errors. The top one there. So you got 2 pages that don't have a unique meta description. Now, for anyone who's got a WordPress site and who's got Yoast, then you're probably familiar with the idea of a meta description. Does that make sense to you, Jana? You understand
Yeah,
what a
like
meta description
I
is?
do write meta description. Like yours told me this little box where I can put the meta description, and I
Yeah.
usually put something there. Yeah, so that's kind of where my understanding goes.
Well, look, for someone that's doing your own site like you are, that's enough to know, right? Now, what the meta description is basically is when we do a Google search and the results come up and we see the first bit, which we might be searching for, Jana Martin's video coach, and the first blue bit comes up, and that's the page title, and then the description comes up underneath that search result. Well, that description part is the meta description that we can sort of influence that by changing these meta descriptions on our page. So if what it's saying here, the error is found, is that somewhere on your website you've got two meta descriptions that are the same, right? And what can happen there is you might have one page over here and another page over there, and they've both got the same meta description. And so what happens is it means there's no differentiation, right? So something you can do straight away after this webinar is jump straight in there and find those unique, those ones that are not unique, and you can make some changes to make sure that meta description reflects your page better. So
I think I even know which one is it.
Right. Well, and
now that you mention it, I think I even know. Actually, guys, who's watching us, Sandra mentioned that her help is score like 89%. Whoever is run this report, please share with us also what's your health score and how many errors you got, so and we can actually run through the errors as well. Because here we go. I already know what's happened with mine, because I do copy some pages sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that then I'm copy pages because I like the design of the page. I'll just copy this page and I'll just change the wording, but I probably not always change the metadata. And I think that's what's happened with these two pages.
Yeah, that can happen sometimes. You get onto a good formula and you copy another page, and sometimes it can bring that information across. So, but that's okay, because, also your meta description is a really good opportunity for you. It's your little ad to the world. That's your little spotlight on Google's result. And so you can, you only get a small section, a small amount of room to put your meta description in. And so the idea is, try to choose a really good meta description. Now the next one here you got is the warning. It's saying your page title is too long. Mm-hmm. And so when your page title is too long, what happens is, when someone does a search for you in Google and your result comes up, and it can't show all that blue text across the top, Jana Martin's video coach, and you might have something like, offering coaching for LinkedIn, sort of thing. It's getting too long and it doesn't fit within the space on the Google result. And so it just does the ellipsis, the dot, dot, dot. Mm-hmm. And the reason why that is an SEO issue is because there are words there that you think are important for people, then it's not showing up in Google, right? And so there could be, you might have something in there like, best video coach, or, award win, anything that amazing things that you want, something which connects with your audience, with your customers. And so if that's not appearing, if that's getting truncated and cut off in Google, then that is a problem, right?
So that's errors. So, and actually Kevin's saying his health is 86, almost as mine, but he have 14 errors. So I'm doing quite well.
Yeah.
Let us know, Kevin, if any of these errors is just what we discussed. If it's same errors as mine, or is it something else that on your screen? So yeah, so that's page too long, and then I have 110 issues.
108. Well, it sounds like a lot, doesn't it?
Yep, sounds like a lot.
108 issues. Now, 108 issues with unminified JavaScript and CSS files. Okay, now
that's just like a group of words that doesn't mean anything for me at the moment.
Okay, now it's yes, it is a different language, right? It's we're no longer speaking English. We're talking machine language now. So, but I just need to be a little bit technical here, but I can try to explain it in a non-technical way. Okay, now on your web pages, you have things called JavaScript and CSS files. Now, what happens is every time you get a web designer, or if you go onto your own website and design your own site, you know, things like the layout of the images, the words, the text, you know, the buttons, the menus, anything that's on your website, you know, maybe you click on a button and it drops down to the next menu, navigation, all those things are they're all being created, and in the back end, behind the scenes, you've got JavaScript and you've got CSS, right? As well as a whole bunch of other code and other technical things. But you never see the JavaScript and you never see the CSS, except for what can happen is when there is what they call unminified, what happens is, you know, you've got 108 files on your site that are slowing your page down because they're too big, right? And it's slowing things down. So what happens is if our website becomes too slow, then it can be a deterrent, not only for people who are going to your website if they're trying to go to one page to the next and it's just too slow, but also for Google, because Google's trying to show results in the search that people are going to want to see. And so when it comes across your website, if your website is way too slow, then it will show somebody else's website that's faster, right? And that's basically what we're talking about. So basically what's happened is it's a very common issue when we're gone in, we've made our web page, we've put a image here, we've put another, you know, a GIF here and a heading here. And what happens is all these JavaScript and CSS files are bloating up and becoming really big. So we need to go in there and do a process called minification. And that's what it's saying. You've got 108 unminified JavaScript and CSS files. So there's a process of going in and doing that, but it's probably a bit too complicated for me to explain to people. How do you do the minification right here without me showing you? So
let's keep this one for another webinar. We have a few comments here. Here we go. The arrow saying that don't have a unique title error. So what the unique title mean? I think that would be one of the like quite common errors that might pop up.
Yeah. Yes, a unique title is a similar thing. So every page, I mean, you can see this when you're using Chrome on your desktop and you maybe have several tabs open across your browser. And you can see those tabs, all those tabs, they have a title in those tabs, right? And what it's showing is if you, for instance, have your website open in a browser and you have several tabs open across the top, you can see the title of those pages and they're the title of your page, right? So, and of course that, when we're talking about WordPress, that is also able to be fixed by going into the Yoast plugin. So, so when we go into Yoast, we can see that page, we can see the page title. And, you know, like, for example, it's common if you have a lot of maybe services, maybe you're a plumber and you have plumbing services. You might have a plumbing service for, you know, I don't know, Altona or maybe Melton or maybe, you know, Richmond, things like that. And so, but what can happen is a similar thing you mentioned before, where maybe you go and create a new page and copy the old page, but you don't change the title. You know, that kind of a thing.
Yep.
So we just
Kevin need to go and start changing titles.
Have a look at the page titles, yes, and like I said, you can identify them without using a tool. You can identify them by just looking at the tabs that are open in your browser. But I do recommend, if you're going to get into it much further, you need a tool like Yoast, or even this is why I was saying about SEMRush, something like that.
And there's also another error here: missing correct language declaration warnings.
Okay, that's getting a bit more technical.
Is it technical? Okay, let's skip this technical stuff, because today we're trying to talk about like a simple tips. So because if we dig in too much, I'm already this JavaScript already.
Yeah. Look, JavaScript. I mean, JavaScript, CSS. That's a mind bender for people, but when it comes to incorrect, language implementations, please, forget the person's name. Please, just ask me.
Kevin.
Just follow up separately with me and send me a message, and I can go through the report and I can point that out to you separately. So that might be the easiest way.
Peter, we already been going for 40 minutes.
Time flies.
I know, time flies. So I know we can go forever, and we can keep talking, because there's so many things that we need to take in consideration when it comes to SEO. But I would love you to summarize it a little bit for everyone now. So we did look at a few errors and a few things, and it can be quite tricky to do SEO yourself. But for example, if we are looking as a first step, trying to do SEO ourselves, can you summarize what the main things people need to look at?
Okay. So let me just go through off the top of my head mentally, the list. So yes, running a report like the one I've shown you can help. Okay. But we need to set up our Google Analytics on our website. Google Analytics. If anyone has got a website and you want to do some SEO work, you need to have Google Analytics, because you need to see the traffic that's coming to your website. How many people are visiting? Which pages are they going to? That is important. The next thing you want to do, so that's a free tool, Google Analytics. Yep. The next free tool is one called Google Search Console. And again, we can install Google Search Console. It's another free tool. It's there for us to use. And it allows us to see, Google Search Console shows us what are people searching for. So when people go to Google and they type in the keywords and they click on our page, it shows us what are those keywords that people are typing in. And this goes back to the earlier question of how to find keywords. That's another one that can help us to find keywords. So we definitely want to make sure that if we've got a WordPress site, we've got Yoast, we've got Google Analytics, we've got Google Search Console, and then we start doing that research, the keyword research. And from there, there's a lot of reports we can look at, because SEO takes time. And so over time, we want to go back to our Google Analytics, see, is the traffic improving, is it not? And then figure out what other things we can do about it. So we need to run regular auditing reports. And, some of these tools like Google Search Console can help us with the auditing. That's a free tool, and you don't need to pay for SEMRush if you've got Google Search Console, but you do need to understand how to use the tools. Now, and that's why I would say the best thing if you want to do your own SEO is to spend the time to learn. Now, if you don't want to learn, and if you haven't got time to learn because you're too busy running your business, right, which is great. I mean, you're the expert in your business, so why not, have a think about, instead of spending all this extra time learning how to do your own SEO, then you could hire a professional. Now, you have to be careful though, because again, we want to avoid getting the wrong professional. So what we
so
really
what
need.
would be so what would be your tips when you choosing the company for SEO? Most of the time, then you go
Yes.
to SEO company, they are telling you, from my experience, most of the time they tell you they're asking you how many keywords you want to use, and often pricing might depends of how many keywords you want to use. Also, they often asking you if it's a local or global, and things like this. So what kind of questions you need to ask when you go to and want to outsource your SEO?
Yeah, it's a bit tricky, and I understand why some agencies will ask you, how many keywords you want to be found for, and they will give you pricing depending on that. Now, that is one of the things to watch out for, because realistically, what happens in Google is that it's a whole lot less about how many keywords. And so I would say, if you're getting an agency that's going to give you pricing depending on how many keywords, I would say that's probably not the right agency to go with. What you really want to look for is you want an SEO consultant or an SEO agency that is genuinely interested in what your business is about, right? Because that makes a whole bunch of difference, because Google understands businesses, and we need to be able to work with Google and show Google the kinds of things so that Google can understand your business as well. Now, so the first question to ask is, ask them questions. Do they want to find out about your business, the nature of your business? They should be the consultant should be asking you questions along the lines of, well, how many customers do you have? How many, what kind of products do you sell? Do you sell online? Do you sell offline? Do you have a shop front? Do you want local people to come to your shop? And do you need to have a Google My Business? There's a lot of questions that consultant should be asking you, not just simply asking you how many keywords do you want to rank for. Now, the next step.
So you want to make sure that they actually asking you like holistically looking in to your business, instead of just concentrating on oh, look, here's your keywords, we rank you, and forget about it. Yeah,
that is so important, because that's exactly what Google is doing. Google is understanding your business. So the results that show up in Google search results is not just about how many keywords you want to rank. Google understands your business and what it is you do. And so, well, we want to help Google understand that better. And that's really what SEO is all about these days. So the next step is check any references, get references from them, find out any of their past clients, and see if they're willing to show you some references, and check up on those references. That's important to find out what is the quality of their work. I mean, if you're going to hire, because you think about it, right? Your business can mean a lot of money to you on your internet. So it's a bit like maybe getting a building or a builder or a plumber or an electrician. You want to make sure they know what they're doing. So you check their references, or at least find out, what is the quality of their work. And the step 3 is you're going to need to get them to perform a technical SEO audit for the site. Now, that little report that I sent you and all our viewers have got is a very brief, small it just shows 3 issues. But I've offered today to show everyone else a whole full list, right? Now, that will show a lot more details. It's still not a full audit, but it's a full list of audit information. So here's the thing: if they want to help you holistically and understand your business, then they could be a good fit. But if they're not interested in your business and finding out this kind of information or getting into this, then they might not be the right fit.
And it does make a lot of sense. And I guess it's with not only with SEO, with a lot of things about marketing or advertising as well. It's about involvement in the business as well, not just getting the particular result and getting you in the first page of the Google. So time flies. We're already in the 50 minutes, but we have one more question from Sandra. Okay. So let's just take one more question. And Sandra is asking, is organic SEO better than paid SEO, or should we be using both?
Oh, great question. Yeah. Okay. So first, I'll put a bit of reference background around this. So when we talk about paid SEO or paid search, what we're really talking about is, Google ads and that kind of thing. Now, you may have the kind of business that sells maybe shoes online or something, and there might be certain types of products that you just have ads that run, and you know how to get those ads running. And you can get an ads consultant, or you can run some Google ads yourself if you know what you're doing, and you are able to get your result right up to the top of Google just by paying for it, right? And so, but every single time they click on one of those ads, it's costing you money, dollars, right? So that the pros of using paid search is that you can get straight up to the top of Google, and the cons is it could cost you a lot of money. Now, maybe if you're good at it, you can work out what the return on the investment is, and you can pay for just enough ads to cover the cost of what the money is from your profit margins from your products and services, right? And this is why it needs to come back into your whole understanding of what is your business, how much money is involved in your products and services, because otherwise you can pour a lot of money into paid search and it could cost you so much money you might not make enough to keep surviving, right? So now, when it comes to organic SEO, what we're really talking about is, instead of paying Google ads, what we're doing is we're paying a consultant, we're paying an agency to go to Google and to do all the changes on our website so that we come up high in Google without paying for ads, without, now the thing is though, it takes longer for us to come up on the first page or high up in those positions. That's the cons, but the pros of that is it doesn't disappear, because when you turn off those ads, boom, you've gone from the top of Google. But with organic SEO, the work that you've done stays there, right? As long as you keep doing your SEO work and keep, monthly optimizing things, maintaining, doing the work, and it will stay there organically. So organic SEO may be cheaper in the long run, depending, and it's all very dependent, right? But you certainly can do some organic SEO and get some really good results. Now, so should you do both? Just the last question, part of the question, Or should we be using both? Well, depending on your products and services, I would say it's a good idea to use both, right? Now, especially if, for instance, you've got a product or a service and you're just not on the first page of Google for that, right? It can be a good idea to use Google ads to get onto the first page of Google while you're working on your organic SEO to get up to the first page of Google as well.
So I guess we're coming back to the thing that it's all about the holistic approach. And at the end of the day, we want to know what you're actually trying to achieve with your SEO. Like what's the actually end point of your sales funnel? Do you want to get people on the phone? Do you want to get people in your door? Like what actually you're trying to achieve? And I think before doing any online work, before doing any social media, before doing any SEO, that's the one thing you need to decide. What's the goal? You might be on page 1 of Google, but you might still not converting because you don't have the sales process right at the end. So, and even if people keep clicking on your website, they're still not buying anything. So again, like I think we're coming back to this holistic approach to the business as well. That all this question is great, but unless you actually know what you're trying to do with your business, SEO might not work for you, LinkedIn might not work for you, I don't know, Facebook might not work for you, Facebook ads not work for you. It's all coming back to what we're actually trying to achieve with our business overall. Peter, like we need to wrap up. We're almost at the 60 minutes mark.
Oh, I keep talking for ages.
So let's wrap up. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. We'll have so many people joining us today. Thank you, Wilson. Both good technical, long-term strategy and tactical strategy. So, Muslim, Faya, Sandra, Kevin, thank you, Rodney. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us tonight. As Peter mentioned, he has a full report as his giveaway, so that he will provide. So who you provide the report? Whoever is run the little one?
Yeah.
What's the deal with the big report? How many free giveaways are you giving today?
Oh, well, okay. Now I do have a free gift, which I'll let you choose who the free gift goes to, Jana, because it's your show. Now the free gift is a 1 hour SEO consultation. Now it's a 1 hour analysis and research prior to the call, and we do a video call, and it's 30-minute video call via Zoom, and it's recorded. Now, plus we supply all the PDF documentation, and there's analysis. It's my hands-on analysis of me diving in. Now, that's the free gift. It's worth $587. And now that's the free gift. But as I said, everyone who's watching, everyone who submitted their report today, I will come back to them and I'll send them the full PDF, right?
Perfect, okay, perfect. So I think
not everyone, only the special one gets the video and gets the full 1 hour consultation. That's the gift today.
I think I know who it's going to. I think today the winner is Sandra. I think Sandra actually been participating the most today and has so many questions. And also, I think she's the one who actually did a few tutorials as well, and SEMRush. So it probably will be really helpful for her to get this consultation. So I'm actually giving this giveaway to Sandra. Here we go. Sandra, congratulations. You will hit you will hear it in a second, because it's seven seconds delay before we hear the Sandra's reply.
Great, so, Sandra. Congratulations, Sandra. I look forward to giving you a consultation.
So I'll connect you guys. I'll connect you guys on LinkedIn. I think Sandra is watching us on YouTube today, but I think I have her on LinkedIn, so we'll connect. Here we go. Can't wait. Here we go. Thank you so much. We need to pull it up on the screen, of course.
That's great, Sandra.
So congratulations, Sandra. And thank you so much, guys. Thank you so much again for watching us. You can connect with Peter on LinkedIn, and also what's your website, Peter? So is it your personal website?
Yeah, you can find me on petermeadit.com. But if you connect with me on LinkedIn, all the information is there, including links to my website, including links to any other webinars that I've done before. All that information is there. And please feel free, if people connect with me on LinkedIn and send me a message, I'm always happy to chat and to give information. And yes.
Perfect. And I'll just display our name. So if you're wondering how to spell Peter's name, it's there. And again, thank you so much, guys, for joining me today. We're going completely over time. But just before we wrap up, please, of course, I'm asking you to subscribe to my YouTube channel, because we're doing this show completely for free every Wednesday at 5:30. I have amazing guests joining me and talking about all the relevant topics connected to effective communication online, personal branding. We talk about a lot about LinkedIn, because LinkedIn is a platform that I'm used the most. So Also, please reach out if you want me to invite some particular guest or talk about any particular topic you like. So we have a few guests coming over next week. Next Wednesday, we're talking with Anna about how to promote your event online. Anna has run a lot of face-to-face events before that she was been promoting online, and now she's doing a lot of amazing online events because the market changing, obviously. So make sure to tune in. Rodney will be the next one, and we will be diving into the effective lead generation on LinkedIn and some sales strategy through LinkedIn. That will be on the 26th of August. And first one in September will be Arash, and our topic will be slightly different. We'll be talking about emotional intelligence online and how we can actually use emotional intelligence when we're communicating online. That it's not just technical things and tools. We actually have to have a human factor in the online communication as well. So there's our three next topics. For next 3 weeks. I hope to see you guys there. And of course, I need to mention that if you guys interested in what I'm doing, I have a banner here somewhere too, or maybe I don't. But anyway, I actually gonna run another webinar about how to effectively use video on LinkedIn. And the next one will be on the 8th of September. I'll drop the link there as well. But you guys know you can always find it on my website, janamartins.com. So anyway, a lot of information usual. We over an hour now, so just a little webinar. Anyway, I hope you guys traveling all right through isolation number 2 as well, whoever is watching us in Melbourne. Please make sure you stay safe and sane during this time. It's only 4.5 weeks to go.
Yeah, take some self-care, everyone, and do some mindfulness. And
mindfulness.
Yeah, take some self-care during this time.
100%. Look after yourself. Self-care is a priority during this time. I know we all think like we're missing out and we don't want the good crisis go to waste. But guys, hey, again, self-care is priority. So I'm sure majority of you know about it, and hopefully everyone is doing all right during this time. Peter, last words from you before I'll switch it off.
Last words. Thank you so much for having me. I look forward to sending reports to people, and I look forward to giving a consultation with Sandra. And I wish everyone all the best during these times. And as you said, self-care, please take care, and a big wish of success to everyone.
Thank you, everyone, and we'll see you next Wednesday at 5:30.